Outdoors. I'm Dwayne Kohler, and I'm joined today by friend Jim Karlovec. Jim, the owner and proprietor, Flushing Star Kennels in Columbia Station, Ohio. Jim, you and I have been acquainted for, I think, 20 years. I was trying to count back. I first met you, you came over and did a demonstration here at a local hunting club, and I was very impressed with your dogs and was in the market for a dog, and so we met shortly thereafter. And let me throw you a scenario to start off our talk today. We're talking gun dogs today, and you meet a kid in the parking lot at the grocery store who's got a box full of puppies and free puppies, and hey, I could use a puppy, and I think I'm going to try and take that puppy hunting. And next thing you know, the dog flushes a bird, and you shoot the bird, and the dog's gone. And I wish that was a fictional story, but it's not. That was my story from when I was in college. Mm-hmm. Maybe talk over some of the things I should have thought through a little bit more at that point if I wanted actually a hunting dog.
Well, the first thing I'd look at is, why is something free?
Good point.
Because it costs just as much to keep a good dog as it does a bad one. So, I think breeding's everything, because you can't make how should I put this? You can't make a masterpiece with the wrong kind of clay.
Okay.
If the ability's not there, you can't put it there. That ability has to be there. Then all you're really training is discipline after that. And, that would be the first thing I would look for, though, is, look at the parents. Pick the parents. Don't worry about picking a puppy. That's what I would do.
When I was in the market for a hunting dog, I'd been to your demonstration and those of others. Mm-hmm. I'd been kind of researching different breeds, and one of the things I think that I consider you to be the person I know most about dogs of just about anybody I've ever come across. But you train not only Springer Spaniels and Cocker Spaniels, but also Labs, Germans.
German short hairs, yeah.
How am I going to figure out what's going to be the right breed for me? What's going to be the right type of dog for me? Let's start with that.
Well, the first thing I would do is, if somebody calls me and they're going to be getting their first hunting dog, first thing I ask them is, what type of hunting do you want to do? What do you want to hunt? Do you want to hunt ducks? Do you want to hunt upland? Do you want to be versatile and just hunt a whole bunch of different stuff? That's where you start, is what, then you go into what's their living situation? How much training can this guy do? That kind of thing. And the thing that got me into the Spaniels years ago was their versatility. Plus, you have a dog you can live with in the off-season. Mm-hmm. It's not like, okay, I'm done hunting, put me in the kennel, like some of these breeds.
When I was a little kid, my mother and dad had a Cocker Spaniel. It was the happiest dog. It was fun to be around as a little kid and having a Cocker Spaniel. It was, a great pet. Mm-hmm. And it always wanted to hunt something. I mean, even if it was a snake in the backyard or a rabbit that got into my dad's garden or whatever, that dog seemed like it always wanted to be hunting something. Yeah. And it was always in the back of my mind that, a Spaniel's a good dog. Whenever I get to get out on my own, my selection at the grocery store and from a cardboard box, that wasn't the right way to pick. And the first time, we took the dog out, and I don't know, I'm not sure how, but it flushed the bird, we shot the bird, then we spent the next 3 hours looking for the dog, because it was cowering, it was gone, and a mile away, hiding under a pine tree someplace. Yeah. But the Spaniel was one that I always came back to. A lot of friends that have Labs, and I've been hunting with many of them, mm-hmm. Brittany's, etc. Some of the pointing dogs, and for me it seemed to make the most sense. One that I didn't have to, I don't consider myself any sort of an expert on training and working with it or whatever, but I was kind of scared away from the pointing dogs because I didn't think I would be able to train it well enough, that it was going to, doing it on my own, that I was going to be able to have it be successful. Where do you stand on that one?
Well, not one breed or one particular type of dog is perfect for every type of hunting.
Okay.
And like I said before, the thing that got me into the Spaniels was their versatility. I mean, they're not perfect for quail, but they're more than adequate to go hunt quail. I mean, they're a great pheasant dog. They're great for grouse and woodcock. You can even do some ducks and geese with them. So, and the biggest thing is their personality. They just want to work for you. And, some of the pointing dogs nowadays, I think a big problem is the e-collars, because they're breeding a dog that I think is really, really hard for the average person to train, because they're popping them every time the dog makes a mistake. So, the ones that can take it, they think those are the good dogs, but are they really trainable?
How do you know? I mean, if I'm looking at a bunch of puppies and had the opportunity to come to your place, and we're picking out a new puppy right now, and looked over a litter over the weekend, and I think we have some footage of that. Talk me through that a little bit. How am I going to pick one that's going to match up with the style of hunting I'm into? Again, the living situation and so on. You know, matching up a particular pup.
Well, before you'd come over, I would ask you what you wanted to do with the dog. And the biggest thing is go out to the field and show you a couple of dogs. Obviously, if I have a litter of puppies, it's not going to be Mom because she's already working with the pups.
Okay.
But, I mean, you probably could take out the sire, or if he's not there, if he's a client's dog, you know, take out a dog that's similar and say, this is what these dogs do. You know, is this what you're looking for? You know, is this the type of dog that you want?
In my case, it was a dog that was going to hunt for me, but there'll probably be other guys around, and maybe some other springers, maybe a lab, you know, maybe some other flushing dogs, maybe even a pointing dog from time to time. But it's going to be mostly for pheasants, you know, maybe a grouse or two, you know, maybe a quail or two. I know with my springers in the past, I actually have gone waterfowl hunting, I think a total of maybe 3 or 4 times. That's you know, not a favorite of mine. I would maybe steer more towards a lab if it was going to be that more often. Okay, so take my scenario. What about that?
Well, with pheasants and grouse and woodcock and, you know, that, and a little bit of duck hunting, you know, and a little bit of this and a little bit of that, that's why you want a dog that can do a little bit of everything. Where most of the pointing breeds, I mean, they'll go out and point. In general, they're not natural retrievers. Now, some of them are, some of them aren't, because it's against their instinct because they want them pointing.
If your brain says, okay, I'm supposed to freeze and not grab that,
right.
Okay.
You know, that's it. And then, you know, a lot of the labs are, I mean, they're very versatile also for both upland and waterfowl, but they're most, you know, it just depends on what size dog you want, you know, how much action you want, you know, that type of thing with the dog. You know, but a versatile dog is, you know, pretty much what everybody wants.
Now, within the litter of puppies, you know, you've got different personalities. You know, is there any magic to matching the one for you?
If we had the magic of how to pick a puppy, everyone would be a field champion. So that's why I generally just say pick the parents. Don't worry about picking a puppy. Pick the parents, and then just, you know, that one is as good a way as any. You know, whether it's black, white, green, orange, you know, male, female. You know, it doesn't matter, you know. You'll know what they are at 2 years old.
So if I was to have come to you 10 years ago now that Jack has passed away here recently, but I want a dog that's going to be with me on TV, and he's going to be a good hunting dog, and he's going to be good around the house, and he's going to be a good companion for me when we're out working that isn't hunting, but we're going to be working outside or whatever. Who knows, you know, if we could have come up with one like that. But, you know, Jack...
Well, you did, Jack.
Jack was perfect. I mean, Jack was perfect, and I'm hoping the next one's going to be the same. Jack, I think his hunting probably could have been better, and some of our you'll see some of our tape here. That Jack didn't hup very well when the bird would flush. He would go after it, and I didn't work with him enough on that one, but it was okay. You know, he did. He was great at finding them.
Were you happy?
I was thrilled. I was thrilled.
Then that's all you need. If somebody's happy with what their dog, you know, that's what you want. You know, it may not be what I like in a dog, but if you're happy with it, who cares what everybody else thinks?
Talk for a second about the different stages you would take a young dog through, and if he was going to be bred, what are the different certifications or what are the different awards you want that dog to strive towards?
Well, the first thing I would do is, you know, the dog's going to have to be fully trained before they ever go to some kind of a hunt test or a field trial or anything. You know, they have to be fully trained. There's no reason to take an untrained dog to a test because, I mean, even though, you know, some of the classes like in hunt tests, they have unsteady classes and things like that. But if you have a dog and you want to get a master hunter on it, that has to be a steady dog. Okay. The longer you let that dog chase, the harder it's going to be to get that steadiness there.
Okay.
Then we're getting back to the key to dog training. Is that stop command. Whether it's hup, whoa, sit, whatever you use, that's the key to dog training. When that dog's out there at 50 yards, if he's running toward the street and you say hup and that dog sits, at that point you don't care if he comes to you because you're in control and he's stopped. That's the key, is that stop command. That's the key to dog training.
So the issue is with my puppy, if I'm going to be working around, I want to get that dog to be listening to me. I want him to be cooperative with me, and I want him to, when I tell him to stop, to stop. So we don't get, for safety reasons, I guess.
Right.
Other basics. What are the kind of things I'm going to work with, at the very beginning with my new pup?
Well, the first thing is, like I said, stop. And, with a Spaniel, you're going to use hup. But everything starts close. I mean, you don't want to try to stop him from here to the cameras.
Okay.
You want to stop him right here. Start here, hup. Push his butt down, pet him, good boy. And then it progresses. Everything you do around the house every day goes right to that. When he gets a little bit older, 16, 17 weeks, and you start to feed him, put him on your left side or right, whatever. Tell him to hup. Stick the food bowl down, make him sit there till you tell him it's okay to go get it.
Okay.
And, puppy, how many times a day do you let him in and out the door? Every time you open the door, hup. If he goes to go out, you stop him. Okay. Same thing when he comes in.
Everything whenever,
hup.
Whenever the master tells him it's time.
Right.
Okay.
Right. And that's, but it's all that stuff that you do day after day after day at home. When you go out to the field to work with him on Saturday or whatever day you have off, you tell him to hup, he's going to go, well, I have to sit. So he's just going to sit. It just gets ingrained into them to the point where they just stop.
I've said to people before, I think why hunting dogs, sporting dogs become popular is because they want to be cooperative with you for the most part. People see other dogs and they listen to their master, and maybe that's a good thing or a bad thing. I don't know, but to me, certainly it's a good thing. I'm oriented towards dogs that want to be cooperative, that want to please me, etc. And I think other folks are too.
Well, I think a hunting dog has to be more cooperative than the average pet, because when you're out hunting, the dog's running free. So, if you're hunting right here, Dwayne, you don't want to have an Ohio license for the dog.
Yeah, right.
He's, over across the state line, they want, you have to, that biddability and wanting to hunt for you, that has a lot to do with it. And in that training, you just they just want to please you. They just want to be right there with you.
Let me talk with you about breeds for a second.
Okay.
Springer Spaniel, and the Cocker Spaniel. We're going to have them out, and you're going to work them here for us in a few minutes. But for years and years, Cocker Spaniels kind of got known for house pets, and kind of got away from. People were surprised that they, ever were hunting dogs. I think you're one of the few that's really, taken a push back towards getting that Cocker Spaniel back out there as a hunting dog. Where would their specialty be? Where would there be something that they're going to be?
You're talking about two different kinds of cockers, okay?
Okay.
You have the American cocker that's, essentially a show dog. There are a few people trying to bring them back, to the hunting side. But the ones I have are English cockers, and they are from a working line, just like the Springers are. Okay, they're two distinct sides. Okay, you have a show English cocker and a field English cocker, and there's night and day difference. The looks, the coat, everything. The same thing with the English Springers. The difference between the Springers in the field and the show Springers it's night and day. They're two different dogs now. I think the last dual champion Springer was like 1948. That was a show champion and a field champion. And the gap's just widened exponentially since
People would ask me different times about, who groomed Jack. I said, well, nobody. I'd get the scissors out and cut that hair off behind his legs. It would get all tangled up with stuff or whatever. He was very good about it. His coat was excellent. It didn't really collect a lot of mud and burrs and all that kind of stuff. Again, a dog you're going to see at the dog show, at the Westminster Dog Show, whatever, it's almost a different, it's
totally different coat,
different
texture and everything, length, all that big body. But if you look at those dogs at Westminster and that, you look at, the crown of the eyes, there's more protrusion. The ears are set lower on the head than these field dogs. They bob the tails where we only take 1/3 off, because you want to see that animation and all that action. It gives them so much more style than just, that little bobtail on there.
Now, one thing also I wondered about the large eyes that come with the show dogs and versus the field dogs. Their eyes seem to be flatter, and to me, there's a functional advantage to that.
You're not getting tore up when you go into this kind of stuff.
Every stick and prior and branch or whatever you're going to get.
Right.
And my dog Jack had bigger eyes than my previous dog Harley had, and he had more trouble with stuff getting into his eyes and so on. So that's on purpose. I mean, that's the kind of flatter eyes.
Yeah, a little flatter eye. Yeah.
Are there other things like that that help a field dog?
Well, if you look at the